It is currently 15 minutes till 11 o'clock on Wednesday, March 29th. I've had a fairly exhaustive week as I went and house sat, and that was its own ordeal. Came to an understanding with my mother a little bit on some things, so that kind of calmed down a lot. Basically, got to what's kind of been frustrating me is a sort of you can't have your cake and eat it too situation where she'll tell me that she can live by herself, but also needs a lot of help. And now, no, has kind of admitted that she probably can't. So, touch up on that topic with her at a later time. But went in house sat after coming to that understanding. Enjoyed the little goblin. Adjusting to a new work schedule as I have some really odd days off, which is what it is based off of my availability and preference. And just need to recharge a little bit. It's been a busy week. So let's play some Yu-Gi-Oh! I know I was just here at the solo screen, but wanted to kind of, I guess, timestamp this a little bit. Especially now that I kind of figured out how to export shit onto YouTube. I am very much boomer hours when it comes to the Twitch stuff. But take a look over at notifications. Literally, the list update went live just a little bit ago. Not exactly what I want to talk about. Lots of new shit got added to the store. And now it's like, oh, and actually kind of giving a lot of stuff out to make you second guess a little bit of how you want to spend your gems, or at least for me anyway. More specifically, if I open up some things here, a lot of the new accessories, like this is just gorgeous. The artwork for World Legacy World Key is just a gorgeous bit of artwork. Well, it's not specifically World Key. I forget the actual name of the card, but probably going to pick that up at some point. Don't know what decks I'll slap it onto, but it's beautiful. This is the Simp sleeves. And then, let's see here. You can get Nibiru, which that's kind of neat. A little too late, if you ask me, for some people, but it's neat. New Raw support, in addition to some other rando cards. Don't know if I'll touch this pack or not. Part of me feels like I want to put together Witchcrafters, and then another part of me is just like, nah. It's just a different flavor of spellbooks, but oh, anyway. Kind of skipped that on the last part of Duelist Cup. Oh no. I had my personal life shit to actually tend to. And yeah, that's pretty much it. They did release, finally released more to the World Legacy story. Which, yeah, no, Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually does have a collective lore to its story. Not like, I guess, whatever the fuck's happening with Phyrexia and Magic right now. I did a slight dive into that hole, but no, I guess they kind of Deus Ex Machina at that, where here Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a little bit more self-contained. Sometimes you get some Deus Ex Machina or whatever, but no, there's actually stories between the cards, and one of the longest running ones is World Legacy, on the technicality that's also a prequel to another long-running lore thing, or at least has tie-ins to another one. So yeah, it took them a while to finally kind of add more to it, but I really wanted to stream doing this, not so much the duels, but just the readings. Because if we look here at the new gate that they added, it's a little bizarre. Like, you literally have 5 scenarios then, and duel, and then just scenarios and goal. And if we check out the gates, their unlocks are just some uh, cosmetic things that you can get from going through the scenarios, which I don't think is the first time that they've done this in at a solo gate on Master Duel, but it's something that they don't do all that often. So let's do some fancy readings. I hope Twitch does not mind this reading of a visual novel. Where the world legacy leads. With Babble's activation, World Legacy, World Wand, tore through the sky and fell on Earth. Its tremendous mass pierced the earth below. Just as its devastating aftershock was about to strike the warriors of the Crusadia, a blinding light fell upon Aram's eyes. A light even brighter than from the battle with Ibli. Umduk had used the power of the gods to call forth a gigantic barrier. As the gust of destruction blew past them, the barrier dissipated. Umduk had sacrificed his life to shield the Crusadia. With his life force depleted, Umduk falls to the ground. Aram is left speechless as he touches Umduk's fallen body. The body of his invaluable ally. A wave of guilt rushes into his mind, as it did once before. But there was no time for sorrow for either Aram or the Crusadia. The fall of the World Wand exposed the World Legacy World Arc and activated it. The fallen Umduk was then consumed by the World Arc. The power of the World Arc has over life and death was infused with the godly power of Umduk. And this combination took the form of a two-headed dragon. Guard Dragon Andrake, which then descended toward Aram. The Guard Dragons had awakened. The shattering power rippled through the planet and reshaped each world legacy into a draconic form. I'll be honest, this is the first time I've gotten like the more explicit details as to this lore. Like, you can see from the artwork and get like a rough idea a little bit of how it plays out, but it never likes to outright state what the fuck's happening sometimes. Making the Despia story a little confusing, but it is what it is. Even as the world legacy took the forms of dragons, Ningirisu was not fazed by their threat. Ib's revival. That was the sole thing that pushed him forward. Carrying the body of Im in his arms, he approaches the mechanical doll. Using the key embedded in it, he should be able to control even their draconic world legacies. Ningirisu attempts to revive Ib's soul, using the key to control the world arc and its powers over life and death. And finally, at long last, a brother's wish for his sister was to be fulfilled. The doll slowly absorbs Ib's remains. Smile for me again, like you used to before. Ningirisu calls upon Ib. Ib and the doll become one. The soul's revival is complete. However, the soul now bound within the machine body was not that of whom he sought for. The smile on her face was not the compassionate smile of Ib, but a wicked grin frozen in place. A smile belonging to Lee, who had merged with Ib's soul. The resurrected Lee took control of the puppet, and using the power of the key, she decimated what remained of Ib's soul. She then called upon the new draconic world legacies and consumed them, growing to enormous size. By consuming Ib's remains and the 5 dragons, Lee turned into a monster known as Nightmare Incarnation Idli. Idli then used the power of the key and the world legacy to create a crawler as large as a mountain named Duus X Crawler. Arum and his allies noticed that the spinal protrusion stretching from the Duus was connected to the sealed Great Darkness. As they approached to stop it, a dreadful black dragon blocks their way. It had been consumed by a deathly force and became Idli's vanguard. It used to be Unduk. Now he had become World Legacy Guard Dragon Mardark. If you weren't expecting Shakespearean shit from your Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't know what else you were expecting tonight. After the battle with the Orcust and being engulfed in the shattering world, the Crusadia was left barely standing. And now, World Legacy... fuck me, I guess. Was it inevitable that the Great Darkness would fall into Lee's hands? Just as Arum was about to give in, a flying dragon lands before Lee. It was Guard Dragon Justicia from the Forest of the Stars. The shimmering blue dragon used its power to rip out Ib's body that was bound to Ed Lee. In that moment, it began to shine brighter, enveloping the area with a flash. Then, the light gathers. As Arum opens his eyes, he sees the figure of a young girl. The kind eyes of the girl he knew so well. Ningrisu's sister, his childhood friend. Their time in the village, their quest for the world legacy. He had shared his hardships and joys with her, who was none other than Ib. She had supposedly been destroyed by Lee, yet she stood before his eyes. Arum and Ib were reunited once again. Yet there was no time to rejoice, as another calamity soon occurred. Idli's body, now separated from the key and its inheritor Ib, could no longer control the world legacy, and went into overdrive. Idli howls as Arum and Ib turn to Mardark, who has shared a similar fate. To save their friend Umduk from the deathly force possessing him, they attempt to call upon his soul. Their call drives it from his body and awakens his soul within. The awakened Umduk amplifies his life force and is reborn as the divine dragon, World Chalice Guard Dragon, Al-Marduk. Words. Even during this transformation, Idli's rampage continued. And at last, the monstrosity dug up by Duus X Crawler reared its head. Upon seeing the abomination, Ib explains, "This is the true form of the Great Darkness. It It is the embodiment of the divine power. World gears of theological demergy. Ningursuf originally attempted to use the key in the machine body to control the draconic world legacies, and thus try to revive Ib's soul. However, this procedure failed. Instead awakened Lee, who took control of her body and spirit. As Ningirisu falls into despair, a miracle happens before his eyes. A shining blue dragon appears and fuses with Ib's remains. As a result, his sister, the person he shares more than anyone else, has returned. Was he dreaming? Is this real? What has happened? As Ningirisu considers this, he feels something reaching out to his soul. It was what remains of a fading mind, belonging to the vessel made to house Ib's soul. It was the echo of the doll's final thoughts. It was nothing more than an artificial body, but perhaps through the power of its host, or because the power of the key, the empty vessel grew a consciousness that was neither Ib or Lee. It was a nobody that grew a heart of its own. Oh, here we are. I bought Banhammer. Hold on. Manage. No. Hold on. As I boomer my way. Boomer my way towards... Oh, no, not what I wanted. I love it when bots. Cancel. How the fuck do I... Oh, here we are. Ban. There we go. Bye-bye. Alright. But yeah, it's almost exactly like the fucking plot, the goddamn fucking Kingdom Hearts, goddamn fucking nobodies have no hearts, but they can grow it. Anyway, at least this isn't as convoluted. It's pretty straightforward. Who the conscience belonged to, or if it was similar to humans, the doll did not know. However, it still had a heart to care for its master. When the newly revived Lee attempted to erase the soul of Ib, the doll transferred Ib's soul to World Legacy, World Chalice, in the Forest of the Stars, and sacrificed itself to save her. Ironically, this was the same method Lee used to deceive humankind. But Lee failed to notice, as the purity of the doll's heart was indistinguishable from Ib's. Having heard this final echo, Ningirisu clutched the sash that had belonged to Ib, the doll, and Galatea, and stood with renewed determination. At last, the great darkness, the avatar of divine power, had arrived. World gears of theological demergy. Facing such an overwhelming foe, Aram remembered a passage from the Legend of the Star Heroes. To fend off the great darkness, Aram informs Ib and his Crusadia allies of his plan of action. His plan was to inherit the key, which Mech Knight Blue Sky had once attempted and failed. He aims to use the power to combine the gathered legacies into a single entity. Assisted by Ib and his allies, he begins the unification. Upon realizing Orum's plan, the desperate nightmare incarnation Idli attempts to stop him. Umduk and the Crusadia give their all to defend Aurum and Ib. However, Idli's attack was tremendous. Just then, a man with a sash clenched in his fist came forth to face the challenge. It was Ningirsu. He gathered all the remaining parts from Babel, and they orcused and forged a colossal spear. With it, he strikes Idli with a ferocious blow. Gathering up all his might, Ningirsu then forges his final and ultimate creation. A creation intended to protect the divine reincarnation of Ib. It was a colossus combining every Orcust, and even the creator himself. Dingirsu, the Orcust of the Evening Star, had been born. Idli continued her rampage, still desperate for the divine powers. Ningirsu, now with the power of a machine god, did not hesitate while striking with his spear. Subjected to this fierce assault, Idli's body begins to fall apart. And even yet, Li's tainted spirit was obsessed with attaining godhood. With her sanity long lost, Li used Duus Ox Crawler to forcefully bind her soul to the world legacy. In response to her tainted mind, Demergy loses all control. The overflowing power of the gods was enough to accelerate the destruction of the planet. Aurum and Ib continued the Key's accession, and their allies stand to defend the two. The planet's destruction looked inevitable, but not a single soul was about to give up. Each and every one stood firm to fight against the divine power. And at last, the session was complete. With Aurum having inherited the key, he wielded the power of every world legacy as the legendary world hero. Mech Knight Crusadia Avramex. Starlit hero, your sword swathed in light, may you triumph over the great darkness. Alright, time for an actual fucking game. As it's near the end of the month and I'm trying to min-max the dailies, we're first going to go down this, but we gotta finish this up, so. Actually, no, we won't. Let's just do some games. I will be playing with my own deck, my own funny haha Dark Magician deck, just because that gets us through. And I'm not forced to play shit I don't really want to play. Ooh! I can't wait to be this added into the store, like 4 months from now. This hand's a little ass, but it's fine. Yes, I'm playing this with 3 dark magic attacks. Why? Fuck you. Okay. Come on, top deck. Bitchin'. Man, I just love how Dark Magician can plus forever now. Every time I see this artwork, I think she's playing a fucking guitar. And the Mick Knight fucking things are musical notes or some shit. She spellcaster? I forget. Nope, Cybers. Okay. If this card in summoner's control. Cannot special summon monsters except link monsters. Okay. And I can... Huh? Oh, okay. Fuck it. Let's... okay. I see. I see. Okay. That's poopy, but that's okay. I guess it'll just be a fucking Dark Magician beatdown. Cause... Oh. I don't think... Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to plus enough. Okay. Fuck it. Yeah, fuck it. Then I'll just fucking tribute summon it. Yeah, fuck it. And then I pretty much have this. And then, yeah, you get the cool reward using your own deck on this one, which is not normally the case in the solo stuff. Okay, this is an interesting hand. What? What am I even playing against? Let's grab you. Put you back. Boop, boop. Advantage, advantage, and more advantage. And that. And that's why I just run a bunch of extra copies of these cards. So I don't have to feel bad about ditching them to draw. And I'm just going to end on that. I don't need much else. Is that a quick effect? No, it's not. I'm just going to ruin their day. What? Damn. Really? And then you do a negation. Activates monster effect. Okay. Negate this. Cool. Go and grab that fucker. Put that back on top. Oh, I don't give a fuck about that. Oh, he's dark. Okay, yeah, that's silly. I'm gonna be weird and do that. Oh, what? Whack. Oh well.